was responsible for abuse of power and abuse of state resources involving the same fund, I deferred to the Auditor General and to the Inspector General of Intelligence. My role so far on those matters has been to receive briefings from the Auditor General and the Inspector General of Intelligence. Even when no other competent body is investigating, I still refer matters to them where appropriate. For example, when I was approached about a year ago by an MEC in one of the provinces to investigate the involvement of a national deputy minister and senior police officers in subverting the law by enabling drug lords to operate unhindered, I immediately called General Dramat and requested that he accepts a referral. The matter is now being investigated by the courts. I did the same thing earlier this year when I was asked to investigate the landing of a private airplane at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. I declined to investigate on the basis, among other things, of the fact that an investigation had already been carried out. Instead, I chose to look into allegations by an official from the Air Force who alleged that she had been denied due process and implicated unfairly without being interviewed by the task team appointed by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development to investigate the matter. Insofar as the Nkandla matter is concerned, I have stated that I received the first complaint about the matter in December 2011. 2 more complaints were received last year, following a second expose by a newspaper. You probably recall that the Nkandla matter was first reported by the Mail and Guardian in 2009. However, no investigation was requested to my office at the time. But I'm mentioning the fact that despite the fact that the Mail and Guardian had an article on this matter in 2009, no state agency commenced an investigation on this matter until this matter was brought to my office in 2011. By the time we started, nobody had launched an investigation into the matter, be it the Auditor General, the Special Investigation Unit, or the Ministerial Task Team. All parties involved know this too well, and I have no idea why they are trying to mislead the people of South Africa. Furthermore, when I met the Director General in the Presidency, a day after advising the Presidency on the request to investigate, he advised of no other investigation and simply pointed out the organs of state to whom I had to direct any questions. I proceeded to do so, starting with the Minister of Defense, who pointed me to the Minister of Police. The Department of Public Works also tendered no resistance at the beginning and supplied documents and information, including classified documents, without any conditions. On the security question, it is important to appreciate that it is everyone's job to obey the law, which includes national security laws. As Public Protector, I also see this as our responsibility. It is our responsibility not to compromise the President's security and that of the state. The report in question was accordingly prepared with extreme care to avoid any security issues. It must be noted that I have never understood my role as being that of a security expert or an expert on hospital surgeries, construction of RDP houses, or any other technical field. I understand my role and that of judges as requiring my ability to sift through evidence and determine, in my case on the balance of probabilities, what happened, what in accordance with the law or rules should have happened, and make a determination regarding the propriety of what happened. If I make a finding that what happened should not have happened, my job is to determine whose fault was that. In other words, who dropped the ball, and then specify what should be their accountability. In their court papers, the ministers that took me to court seem to have a different view, yet paradoxically, they do not think a judge should be an expert to make the same determination. They argued I was neither authorized to make nor had the skills to make such determination. While my job as an ombudsman involves a combination of investigating and adjudicating like a judge in the civil law system, it is prudent to seek expert opinions where appropriate. It was in this regard that I welcomed the request for the involvement of the security cluster. This takes me back to the roadmap for finalizing the report. Firstly, please take note that I have decided to depoliticize the process. As argued in court papers, I never wished to enter into a politicized environment. My deal was initially with officials. It was, as indicated in our court papers, General Ramla Khan from the Department of Defense, who requested that he and his colleagues have sight of the reports, use of classified documents to ensure there were no security breaches or breaches. The arrangement changed when, at the close of my last meeting with the security cluster ministers, the Minister of Defense asked if the deal was still on. And when I answered affirmatively, she proceeded to ask me that the document be given to ministers instead of the process that I had mapped out. The process I had mapped out to the ministers was going to involve General Ramla Khan and his colleagues interfacing with my investigation team. But when the minister requested that the report rather be given to the ministers, I accepted in good faith. I now regret acceding to that request for the following reasons. In their court papers, the ministers pointed out that it is not them that are security experts, but the staff they employ. They further advise that teams of officials were busy with the provisional report with a view to identifying what, in their view, constitutes security breaches. I agree with the ministers. Ministers are not security experts. That is why my original deal involved officials and not ministers. The depoliticized way forward seeks to take the process back to technical rather than political engagement. The envisaged process will involve the following steps. 1, my team and I will review the 28-page government submission with a view to assessing the reasonability of the security concerns, and where considered reasonable, alter the report as I deem fit. 2, I will invite the ministers in the security cluster to nominate security experts from within government to meet me at my offices to discuss with them the contended issues. I will thereafter apply my mind and make a decision. 3, I will discuss whatever issues remain unresolved, which I hope won't exist, with selected independent security experts. 4, the provisional report will be shared with respondents, complainants, and implicated parties for comments within 10 working days. Those outside the security cluster, except the President, will not get a copy of the report, but will be invited to come and view relevant parts thereof at my offices. The 5th step, of course, will be to release the report in a manner I deem fit. Just to repeat, the 4 steps is my team review the report and we integrate what we consider appropriate. Step 2, we invite the ministers to give security experts to talk to us about any concerns they might still have on the matters they submitted without citing the report itself. 3, should there be matters that are unresolved between us and the security cluster experts, I will make use of selected independent security experts to discuss those matters, again without showing them the report. The 4th step then will be to share the report with affected and interested parties as was originally planned, and the 5th step would be to release the report. I hope this will remove any anxieties regarding the report and take care of all the genuine security concerns. I thank all the people of South Africa that continue to support while holding my office accountable for its exercise of state power. My team and I count on that support as we continue to play our part in fulfilling the constitutional promise of a state that is accountable, operates with integrity at all times, and is responsive to all the people. That is a state where state power is always exercised in accordance with the law, and all state action is informed by public interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Public Protector. Colleagues, it's now time for questions. Question time.
And that was the Public Protector Thuli Madonsela outlining her plans in making sure that the report goes to the intended people, which is the security experts and not the ministers.